everyone, welcome to Yin Yoga today. I'm Kat, if you've not met before, and I'll be guiding you through your practice around the Shoelace Family today. So finding your way into any comfortable position and just making sure that you have a yoga bolster or some cushions or pillows, some blocks or something sturdy that can substitute for blocks, and a blanket. So find your way into a reclined position. So you might like to have the bolster underneath the backs of the knees. Maybe a cushion for the head or a folded blanket. Have a wriggle around, tuck the shoulder blades under. Eyes can be closed or a soft gaze towards your top lip. This is your time now, nowhere to be, nothing to worry about. So just allowing yourself to settle, finding stillness, which is one of the essences of the Yin Yoga practice. And just noticing inwardly how you're feeling today. There's never a wrong answer or an expectation. Always checking in with your internal weather. Noting any areas of the body that may feel a little bit sticky, a bit niggly today, so you can approach your practice with absolute kindness. Noticing we're feeling quite spacious today. And today's practice is focusing around one of the archetype families from my Yin Yoga lineage. So I come from the lineage developed by Paul Grilly, and he put the yin shapes into different families, different archetypes. So today we're working with the Shoelace family, which focuses around the hips, targeting the tissues of the glutes, the side of the legs, the IT band, and also in front of the hips comes into play as well in the hip flexors. So as we lay here, grounding and centering, just noticing how the hip area feels, glutes especially. So the great thing about working with the different archetype shapes is that we get to work different target areas with certain family shapes. So there's not a lot of shapes in Yin Yoga, but there's plenty of variety within them. So just feeling into the hips, even the curve of your lower back, and just noticing if you're gripping or bracing here. Can you gently allow the body to soften, to settle? And just allowing the legs to be heavy, head heavy. It's quite normal if the mind has started overthinking or anticipating today's theme. Remembering you're always welcome to do as much or as little as you like within the shapes. We'll stay on our back for our first shape, straight into the Shoelace family with a supine variation of shoelace. But first, just bending up the knees, feet flat to the floor. You might like to bring the arms out wide if you've got space, feet wide, and just gently drop the knees side to side. Making windscreen wiper motions with the legs. Just starting to stir sensation, bring our awareness to the hips. Also a slight twist through the spine. Next time the knees come back to centre, bring the knees and feet together, give yourself a little squeeze. Curl up in a ball. You may like to keep the head heavy or bring the forehead up to meet the knees. Even a little rock side to side here. Really feeling the lower back pressing into the mat. Lower head, neck, shoulders, lower feet. And we'll start with the right hand side. A couple of different layers to our shoelace. And just think of an actual shoelace. We can tie them in a tight knot. We can just have them in a loose bow. Crossing the right ankle over the left thigh, just above the knee. We can relax the right foot. It doesn't have to be flexed unless it feels good for you to flex the foot. You can have a little play there, whether you flex the toes back towards the knee or just let the foot relax. So we're targeting the outer right hip, right glute target tissues here. If this feels good, stay. Layer 2, you may float your left foot off the floor. You can grab a block, a bolster, some cushions, just to raise the foot up. And if you're having the foot raised, bring the prop or support quite close into the body. So this lifts the foot and just sends the sensation a little bit more into the outer hip. Or you may like to thread your needle, grab behind the back of the left thigh. Again, you play with how much pressure with the hands to draw left thigh towards you to feel into the right outer hip. So find your layers. So this is our loose shoelace. So we will start here for 1 minute or so of our 4-minute hold. Okay, easing our way in gently. First shape. Your eyes can be closed, your soft gaze up at the ceiling. And just really feel into the outer right hip. Physically in our Yin methodology, bringing the good therapeutic stress and tension to the muscles and the tissues. We try our best to relax the muscles so we can focus more on what's happening within the fascia, the connective tissue, which can often get quite dry, quite sticky. So helping to juice up, loosen up the tissues by encouraging the flow of fluids into the fascia. So you may notice over the long holds today, when you come into a shape, it may feel a little bit strong, tissues are a bit grabby, but over time, it starts to get a little bit softer. And of course, our nervous system plays a huge part in this reaction as well. So once the body starts to relax, it's usually the nervous system saying, okay, we're safe, we're good to be here. But please pay attention to sensations in the body, especially when we are working with the hips, big joint area, lots of tissue, muscles running around the hips. If anything feels ouch, pinchy, doesn't feel good today, back off a little bit. So even if you're in the shape now with the left foot floating, you can always bring the left foot down to a prop or to the mat. So just reach halfway in our 4-minute hold. If you're good where you are, stay. Or maybe you'd like to play with your edges. Of course, like I just mentioned, if sensation feels too much, if it doesn't feel comfortable, we can back off. But also, we can tighten up. So if you'd like to come into a tight lace for the final 2 minutes, you can cross the right knee over the left, make a little whale's tail grab, opposite ankles. And you can still do this if the left foot's on the floor. You can just cross the right knee over the left. Then try it. If it doesn't feel good, you can take the layer off. So just settling in here, just over 1 more minute left. I'll give you some space. Just feel into this first shape, and I'll let you know when it's time to come out. Last few moments, you might like to deepen your inhale. Let the body know we're getting ready to move. Nice and slow. Untie your legs, untie your laces. It might feel a bit achy. Feel the rebound effect, especially through the outer hip. Option to knock the knees in, feet wide. Just rest here, or maybe the legs slide along into Shavasana. If you need to come back to windscreen wiper legs, please do. Just dropping the knees side to side can just stir, help to move the fluids around the body. And then just observe, especially with these asymmetric shapes we're working with today, noticing how one side, the right side, feels a bit different to the left, having only put our awareness into the right hip. And switching sides. Crossing the left ankle to the right thigh, same 3 layers, and we'll start with a loose variation. So right foot can stay on the floor, it can go on a prop, it may just float, interlacing fingers just behind the right thigh. And again, have a play with how much pressure you bring into the hands to draw the right thigh towards you. So target tissues, now switch to the outer left glutes. It may feel different. Bodies aren't always symmetrical for whatever reason, whether that's in our bone structure or the myofascial groups, the tension in the muscles and tissues. We don't have to overthink that. We're just being aware, absolutely normal asymmetries in the body. So if it doesn't feel good to do the same shape you just did on the right side, on the left side, do something different, it's okay. Sometimes the other side of the body does need something different. And settling in. So I'll give you some space here on this side. I'll let you know when we're halfway so we can make some adjustments. We're finding the quiet stillness within Yin. And do notice if you're forcing the body into the shape or gripping against it. Just allow yourself to soften. Even if you extend the exhale breath, that can sometimes help. Again, just soften through the nervous system, the mind. We're just creeping up to halfway as well. So if you're okay where you are, stay. Especially if you're working on non-gripping. Or maybe you'd like to tighten your lace, cross the left leg over the right, stack the knees, grab opposite ankle. And settle in. getting ready to transition. Last few breaths. And slow release your shape. Again, same options for the rebound. Oh, if it feels a bit achy, have a groan, have a sigh. Notice how the left leg feels now on release, left hip. If you need a bit of movement, take the windscreen wipers or stay as you are. Bending up the knees if they're not already. Roll over to one side. Take your time to come up to a seat. For a half variation of shoelace now, so we can target into the side hips in a different variation. Now we've warmed up a little bit in the supine, as that does take the pressure off a little bit. So you might like to sit up onto a folded blanket just so you can get the forward tilt of the pelvis. And we'll target into the right leg, back of the right leg, but into the left hip. So there'll be two target areas for this asymmetric shape. So bending up the right leg. Bend up the right leg. Option to come into a half butterfly variation here, but just see if you can either step the right foot over the left leg and just have the foot to the floor like so, or just like we did on our backs, create the figure 4 shape, so have a loose lace here as we come into our forward fold. Or the next layer is to cross the right leg over the left, so you've got a half tight shoelace here, so you can really feel it into the hips. And again, depends on your anatomy, you may be feeling it more even into the straight leg, left leg hip rather than the right. So we'll take 3 minutes here. So when you're ready, lifting out the lower back and folding forward. And just be aware, sensation may suddenly go more into the back of the left leg. So half variations. Sometimes this can soften sensation, but like with this shape, it can increase it a little bit. So we can really target into one side of the body than the other. And in this rounded forward fold, feeling also into the back, especially around the lower lumbar spine. If you do need some support of cushionings, you can always have the bolster close by. You can always place the bolster in sideways on top of the top leg to rest down on. Just let the shoulders slump as you fold forward here. So yeah, noticing this variation, especially around the hip area. Sensation may be stronger in this variation for some of you, or it may be even a little bit softer. So creeping towards the final minute. Last few breaths. Nice and slow, lifting the chest, chin rises last. Untangle the right leg, and we'll actually come straight into the other side. Then we'll have a longer rebound in a moment. So bending up the left leg, option to step the left leg over the right, and we can just take a forward fold like so, or take more of the figure four shape, ankle to just above the right knee and come forward. Or if you can, cross the left leg over the right, even if the knee is a bit high, as long as that feels okay for you. And then rounding and folding forward again. Blanket just under the pelvis just helps to get the forward tilt to get into our fold. If you need some cushioning to support you, go for it. And we'll take 3 minutes from here. So we work with the Shoelace Family. We're also working with the meridian pairs of gallbladder and liver. So the liver runs on the inside of the legs and up the front of the body. And gallbladder, the longest channel that runs around the head, so lots of zigzagging around the skull, and it runs down the side of the body, so right where we're feeling into the outer left hip in these past two shapes. And then all the way down towards the feet, so they're classed as like the lower and upper body meridians, the body meridians, excuse me, rather than the arms. And gallbladder and liver again helps to govern our general vitality. And the liver in Eastern Chinese philosophy, if your liver is energetically healthy, then you live well. So if you just think of the word liver, knock the R off the end, live, to live. Energetically governing our creativity, our ability to adapt to change. So I'll talk more of that in a moment. Just over 1 more minute left. Last few breaths. So lifting the chest, lift the chin, untangle your left leg. You may like to sit back on the hands or bend up the knees. You can sit in an egg shape. Oh, and just notice how the hips feel now. And coming up and around into tabletop for sleeping swan or deer. So I'll demonstrate for swan first. Actually, no, I'll come this way. So going into tabletop, you may just like to take a little bit of marauding bear, especially as we're focusing on the hips. Nice just to stir, move around before we come into another long hold. Again, just noticing any spaciousness we may have created already around the hips. So slowing down your movement, do have a block handy or a spare cushion. Slide your right knee wide to the outside of the right wrist, straightening out the left leg. and bringing the right shin forward as much as what feels comfortable for your knee. Now if you do have a gap, get a cushion or a block and stick it underneath the right hip or right thigh, just so we can sit down onto a prop if the hips aren't quite coming to the floor. So here, again, targeting the outer right hip, but there'll be some sensation on the front of the left hip flexor. Have your bolster handy. Now, if this does not feel good for the back knee, our alternate shape to swan today is deer pose. So if swan's not feeling good, move any cushioning from underneath the right hip and sit down, bringing the right shin forward, so it's roughly parallel with the front of the mat, and bending back the left leg. So we've got our deer leg, so you can come into a forward fold from here. If you're still in swan, option to stay upright for a little bit, or feel free to come down onto your bolster. You can rest elbows, but depending on your flexibility today, you may come all the way down and sleep your swan onto your cushioning. So we do have 4 minutes from this point. So again, find your edge, what feels good around your hips. Remembering it doesn't matter how deep you go or how low you go in your forward folds. Make it all about what we're feeling in the target tissues. So outer right hip, and then depending on which variation you're in, you may feel something in the outer left hip or the front of the hip. And settle in. So we work with the Shoelace Family. We're moving the chi around the meridians of gallbladder and liver to help freshen up our inspiration and our creativity. So gallbladder and liver are the meridians for spring, which is all about fresh starts and new beginnings. But as we have the meridians running through our body all the time within the 24-hour cycle of the day, doesn't mean we have to wait till spring to work with gallbladder and liver. It's there for us every single day to work with. So maybe pondering, you in need of a bit of a freshen up, a fresh start. We can do a spring clean at any time of the year. It doesn't have to be just in spring. So by moving the chi around gallbladder and liver helps to elevate, lift up our abilities to be inspired and create and try things a new way. Like I mentioned before, being able to adapt to change. This is one of the big characteristics of gallbladder and liver, especially if you feel a little bit stuck, a little bit stagnant in your ways. How can you freshen things up, do things differently? And sometimes we're forced into change, whether we like it or not. So when gallbladder and liver chi is strong, we can adapt effortlessly. So I'll leave you with that thought. Is there any area in your life that you need a bit of freshening up, fresh start, spark of creativity? Yeah, and see what comes to you. And we'll take this into the next side as well, as we have 1 minute left. Last few breaths. Slowly pressing into the hands to come out of your forward fold, moving any props you may be sitting on. And if you're in swan, just sit down to the right. If you're in deer, you can just unravel and bring the left leg forward. Oh, I feel a bit achy. And come on down and have a lay down on your back if that feels good, or of course you can stay in a seat. Oh, feel the rebound effect of the fresh chi circulation rushing back to the hips. On your back, slowly making your way back up to upright. You can bring the feet around and we'll take our two variations, whichever variation you're taking, onto the left side. So coming back into tabletop. Taking swan, slide the left knee to the outside of the left wrist, straighten out the right leg. Again, option to sit onto a block, and remember it does not matter what angle the front shin's at. If you prefer the deer, you don't have to sit on anything for that. You can bring the left leg forward, right leg behind, finding your deer legs. So once again, like we've just gone with our other asymmetric shoelace family shapes today, might feel different for this side of the body. So if you do need to take deer on this side and you didn't on the other side, absolutely fine. Then coming forward and down, and notice as we come into the fold, how does this affect the sensation around the outer left glute? If you're feeling it too much in the knee, you can press arms, hands into the prop or the floor and draw the weight back into the hips. Heavy in the hips, light in the knees. And settle in. So yeah, keep pondering the philosophy from the last side. Do you need a bit of inspiration at the moment? Freshen up, fresh start. Getting creative, trying things a new way, adapting to change. How can that play out for you at the moment? And I'll let you know how much time's left. Final minute. Need to adjust your shape. We're feeling the body softening. Just allow it to drop. But of course, if you need to back off or come out early, you can. Last few breaths. Nice and slow, unraveling, removing any props from underneath the left hip. You can sit down to the left. Oh, again, might feel a bit achy. Bringing the legs around. Again, you can stay in your seat, or maybe coming on down onto your back. And just noticing how the hips feel. A key area in the Shoelace family. And anything that's jumped out from the energetic philosophy today. Nice, and we'll stay on our backs. If you're not laying down, come and have a lay down on the mat. And you might like to slide the bolster or your cushions over to the left for twisted roots. So just like our supine shoelace earlier, we can have our legs tight or loose with twisted roots. So the first layer are loose twisted roots, just having the feet to the floor and drop the knees over to the left. You can have the arms wide, drop the left knee to the left, right knee on top. You can cross the right leg over and just allow it to land onto the bolster. Or if you'd like to bind your legs, just like shoelace, you can cross the right leg over the left. And again, bolsters there to catch the legs. Or if the legs are quite comfortably stacked to the floor, you can bring the bolster up on top of the legs like a bit of a sandbag. And if you've got space, have the arms wide. It's alright if the right shoulder's lifted up a bit, as long as it doesn't feel strained. So targeting the right ribs down the right side, even though the knees are to the left. And the outer right hip. So again, 4 minutes here in this shape. So really working back into the gallbladder channel, but also the liver on the front of the body as well. You may feel the twist around the front ribs. If you would like to turn the head, you can turn the chin towards the right shoulder to get the full spiral effect of the twist. Maybe today, in our quiet stillness, maybe you have had some inspired ideas, even from the last self-reflection. They've got some ideas of how to shift things up, get creative. What needs to be changed? Is it always in a constant cycle of change? Time does not stand still. It's totally normal, natural to be shifting and changing, either quite often or even just moving with the seasons. And even if nothing's flowing to you now, notice in the hours after this practice, or even the days to come, after energizing gallbladder and liver from working with the Shoelace family, notice what flows to you later on as well. last few breaths. Take your time to unravel. And we'll take a pause in the centre. So you might like to keep the knees bent or stretch them long. And it's a good opportunity. Just bring your cushioning, your bolster over to the right side. And again, notice the asymmetries in the body. How does the right side feel compared to the left now? Switching sides, taking twisted roots over to the right. So again, you may need a different variation on this side, bending up the knees. We'll drop the knees over to the right, shuffle the hips to the left. So just checking in, seeing if you need a loose bind of the legs or a tight bind, and using your cushioning to support the legs. And maybe turning the chin towards the left shoulder, and what feels good on this side of the body. And again, coming back to our philosophy, our ability to adapt to change. So this applies to your shapes. We're doing it right now. Learning to adapt. What do we need on this side of the body for this shape? And that gives us the encouragement to adapt to change off the mat as well. So 4 minutes from here, settling in, just let the shoulders be soft. If the body's starting to feel a little bit cool, feel free to grab a blanket, throw a blanket over you. Another example of change, how we may have felt quite warm at the start of the practice, but now we're winding down towards the end, we're closer to the earth, maybe feeling cool. But cooling down is a natural part of the yin practice. Noticing if you're bracing or gripping. Just allow the body to be soft. Final minute. few breaths. Slowly coming back to centre, unravelling your twist. Again, notice how the left side feels now. And keep the knees bent or stretch the legs long. Have a sigh. And we'll finish off today with waterfall. Just send the nourishment back down to the hip areas, bending up the knees, and we'll place your cushioning underneath the back of the pelvis. So you can use your bolster, a couple of cushions, nice thick folded blanket, just anything just to get the hips off the floor. Then one foot at a time, take the feet off the floor and send the feet up to the ceiling and just let the legs dangle over the hips. They may sway a little bit. If it doesn't feel good to have the legs long, feel free just to have the knees hooking into the chest. Head and shoulders nice and heavy and neutral. So a really nice symmetrical shape to finish off a shoelace hip class today. And just tuning in and noticing how you're feeling now. What's shifted, what's changed for you throughout the practice. Just another 2 minutes here. Again, if you've had enough of the legs being up, you can always bend them in. Or stay a while longer. Last few moments. Bending through the knees, softly land the feet to the floor. Lift the hips up, slide your cushioning underneath the backs of the knees. Then have a wriggle around, just feel the circulation coming back down to the feet. And it's time for final rest, final shavasana. So grabbing a blanket, a pillow for the head. You don't have to lay down. If you prefer to be up in a seat, you can take a seat. Number one thing for your final rest is you feel nice and cozy, warm, comfortable and held. So just take a moment or two to settle in. And taking a nice long, slow inhale. Long, slow exhale. And this is where I'll leave you for today. So take as long as you like, ideally 5 minutes, but of course you're at home, you can relax as long as you like. Just allowing the energy of today's shoelace practice, so the focus on the gallbladder and liver meridians, to softly and gently integrate. Such a pleasure to guide you today. I hope you enjoy. And until next time.